The figures show a bracket that is welded to a plate and carries a load P. Determine the polar moment of inertia. Basahin lang ito niya. You go to mode 3 2 and i-on niyo ang frequency. Okay, so God ha, i-drawing ko lang. I-exaggerate natin para makita niyo. Pero these are exaggerated ha. Because in reality, the thickness or the width of the weld is just very small. Diba? Okay, so this is the weld. This is 250. Tapos ini naman, this is 125. This is also 125. Okay. Polar moment of inertia. So how do we determine the polar moment of inertia? Take note that is in terms of mm raised to 4 per mm. Ini nga quantity, ini nga per mm. Ibig sabihin nito niya per unit nga width han aton kuan. Per unit width of the fillet weld. Okay? Mm. Ibig sabihin, we will assume since diri man given an width and fillet, diba? We will assume that this is 1 mm. Okay? We are to solve for the polar moment of inertia. You go to mode 3, 2. You have your x, you have your y. Pananglitan, diri kita pa maaram kung hain na niya centroid. Ha? Diri pa kita maaram ng centroid. So, we'll assume reference axis, this one. Yan. So, for area 1, kamot bahala kung hati yung area 1. Pwede edit area 1, edit area 2, edit area 3. For area 1, your x lang ha, x is 125 over 2. For area 2, your x is 0. For area 3, your x is 125 over 2. O y naman. For area 1, your y is 250. For area 2, your y is 250 over 2. Sana na-gets kung kaya 250 over 2. And this is 0. Okay, ha frequency niyo, ano iya area. At mabubutong dito, iya frequency. Ano iya area? Now, we are considering 1 mm kuan ha, width. So this is 125 times 1. Yun naman 250 times 1. 125 times 1. Isosolve nimo an iya n dy, dx squared plus n dy squared. Tapos i-add nimo, ano adto? Take note, polar moment of inertia. Polar moment of inertia is just defined as your j is just defined as your ix plus iy. That's why gina-add naton an ndx squared plus ndy squared. Tapos i-add naton ang niya tagsa-tagsa nga x and y moment of inertia. Okay. Unahang kwit yan Unahang kwit A1. Ano iya moment of inertia with respect to x-axis? Okay? With respect to x-axis. That would be 125 the base multiplied by 1 cube over 12. Diba? Tapos an area 2 naman, this will be 1, which is the assumed width of the weld, times 250 cube over 12. Okay? Plus, and kanan, adi naman nga usa, that is 125 times 1 cube over 12. Tapos didi, plus, along the y naman, along the y. An area 1 laanay, that is 1 multiplied by 125 cube over 12. As ano sa naman, an area 2 that is 250 times 1 cube over 12 plus an area 3 that is 1 times 125 cube over 12. What's the result? 125 over 2. That is 6.022. So the J, therefore, is equal to 6.022 times 10 raised to 6 mm raised to 4. Okay, mm raised to 4. But since nag-assume kita nga per 1 mm width, this is per mm. Okay? So this is the answer. And that is that the polar moment of inertia in terms of mm raised to 4 per mm. Okay. Now, if you try to see here, kita daw niyo. 'Di ba? 125 times 1 Diba? For example, for this area 1, if the height is this one, 1 mm, parang this is almost negligible actually. Pwede din na niyo igkuan. Pwede din na niyo igupo dit computation. Because anyway, 125/12 in compared to the total value of to the total value of your J, it result niya dire mag-change. Mag-change man parang negligible lang yan. Okay? So sometimes nila sometimes in your computation ay nalang niyo igupod ini. Diba? I-assume na let niyo nga 0 ini. Diba? So, yan na. Imo na lang uupod, ini lang nga tutulo. Okay, let's try to solve that. The result should be the same. 6.022, diba? Times 10 raised to 6. So, it will not change. Kung mag-change man, negligible lang ito. Kasi, pero lang ito nito nga, 125/12. Pero lang ito niya, 10, diba? Ano sa naman, 250. 250 divided by 12. Pero lang ito niya, 20. This will not really change the value of your G. So, pwede din rin natin yung upod. Take note that this is per mm kasi an aton assumption din is the thickness of the weld. Yes, the width of the weld is 1 mm. Okay, that's why yung papabilang dito is per mm. Okay, that's your J. Any question? May pakiana? Dedicated number 2. If the load P is 150 kilonewton, determine the maximum force carried by the wheels per mm. So, paano ini? Okay. Take note that the equivalent force again here, equivalent force system is, if this is the centroid, may dani mo dida P, tapos may dani niya torque. Okay? May dani niya torque, which is equal to P times E. Okay, so this is the equivalent force system. And number 2, ang kipapabiling nga iya is determine the maximum force carried by the wheels. If the question, if yung papabiling is the maximum force, of course, ito mo kikitaan is an part hand wheel nga nakaka-experience in maximum nga stress. Or if that is bolted, ito mo kikitaon and bolt nga nakaka-experience and maximum nga stress. Diba? Takay weld man ini. So, hain nga part hand weld, it nakaka-experience in maximum nga stress. What do you think is the answer? Dituhan bolt. Didihan bolt natin kanina. Diba? Nayakan kita, this is the most vulnerable bolt. Kasi tanan nga forces acting on the bolt are, they are not opposing each other. So, they're here nagka-cancel out. For example, din, tipabaw-baw na, tas another tipabaw-baw. So, mas ma-stress siya anya nga bolt. So, this is the, the most stressed bolt. Okay? Now, okay, one thing that you can ikikitaon dida to determine if it is the maximum if it has the maximum stress is if it is mas harayo hiya kontrahan centroid. Kasi di ba, if I remember correctly, na-mention ko adto that your stress on the bolt is directly proportional to its distance from the centroid. Di ba? So, mas harayo hiya centroid, mas dakot iya force nga makukuan. Mas dakot force niya nga ma-experience. Okay? So, take note, upat nga forces din for the bolt. Upat nga forces, it magpaprohit iya distances. Pero since it yadi nga duduha, na number 1 and number 4, although halayo hiya, some of their forces will oppose each other, will cancel out. Diba? That's why, mas stress talaga ang number 5 and number 8. Or dedicated shear stress. Delete shear stress, this is this is your centroid. It pinakahirayo dida nga kuan, pinakahirayo nga part hand wheel is ini, di ba? Or adi. This one. So it's either of the two. And actually, bisan na yung pilion. Okay, it pilion titled to nalabawa. Parang same lang ako kang inahan both. It pinakahirayo nga diha upper right. So how do we determine that? Una, due to the pila anay. Let's denote it as the shear stress due to the P. Han P lang ha. That is equal to, kamit bahala pag denote ha, it mga forces. Kamit bahala magtawag iton. So VP, this is equal to, i-divide mo lang, di ba? I-divide mo lang. You have there the 150 kilonewton. This should be divided among all the wheel. Piperaan length hand wheel. That is 125 plus 125 plus 250. So your VP, this is equal to, and this is equal to 0.3. This is in kilonewton. Let's try to express this in terms of Newton. 300, this is in Newton. Okay? Sunod, the shear stress naman due to the torque. Okay? Due to the torque. Ano ang formula natin? TR, torque, times R, all over J. Okay? So your torque is equal to, pero itong here, 150 kilonewton, 150 times 10 raised to 3, multiplied by its distance. What is this distance? Okay, i-determine lang natin ini. Wala pa ngayon natin ka-determine. Luckily, wala ko change an data. So we can immediately solve that. That is x bar, and that is 31.25. This is 31.25. Okay, 31.25. So perain here, Didi. That is 125 minus 31.25. And that is 93.75. So this is 93.75. Kalarohan ko lang ha. 93.75. This distance. This is in mm, of course. So this is torque times R. We need to express it in terms of its component. TRX lanay, TRX. Your R here is your Y. So this is 150 times 10 raised to 3. We have to multiply it by its eccentricity first. The eccentricity is, Paraban eccentricity, 250. This is 250. Careful again. Eccentricity is not 250. We still have to subtract the X bar kanina, pero add to 31 point. Yeah, risk ko na lang. This should be 250 minus 31.25. Multiplied by your R. Kaya natong gibibiling pamala is along X lanay, VTX. And that is, the perpendicular distance niya is 250 over 2. Diba? All over your J. Ang J natin, gin-store natin iha calculator kanina. So your VTX, that would be, result is 681.096. Is this in Newton? How about your VTX? VTY pala. VTY, or the shear stress due to the torque from along the Y. This is equal to, the torque is 150 times 10 raised to 3 multiplied by its eccentricity, that is 250, minus 31.25 multiplied by the distance. What's the distance? That would be 93, right? 93.75. This is 93.75 all over yung A. So your VTY therefore is equal to 510.822. This is in Newton. Ang ipapabiling? Maximum force carried by the wheels per mm. So, paano? This is in per mm ha? Per mm in here. Okay. What's next? Per mm. So, we will combine the two. Take note that this one and the Y, they are on the same direction. So, an aton pinaka R max naton. This will not be equal to the square root of 510.822. Asya ba? Plus 300. This is squared plus your VTX 681.096 squared. What will now be the value of your R max? Square root of 510.822 plus 30622 plus 681.096 622. This is in Newton. Or in terms of kilonewton, our max should be, this is this one divided by 1,000. That should be the answer. Per mm ha, per mm. Ibig sabihin, per 1 mm nga thickness and weld. Any question? Adaman? maximum force carried by the welds per mm. Amo inhingit yan. Number 3, if FV is 150 megapascal, determine P in kilonewton that the weld can carry if the thickness of the weld is 9.5 mm. Yung FB daw is 150 megapascal. So, gintagang kita hinkuan ang capacity hand weld which is 150 megapascal. So, dito natin i-base it aton value hit P, han pinaka na-stress. Diba, ining 150 megapascal, dito natin i-equate ang pinaka na-stress nga part an aton welding, han fillet. Okay, but let us express lanay and stress in terms of its force, di ba? We can do that. Express niya everything. Parang gin-resolve niya but gin-express niya in terms of P. Gin-express niya in terms of P. So, ginuna na yan, we don't know the value of your P, di ba? So, this will be your V shear due to the force P of which we don't know the value. This will be P over amo na to ang sum, that's 125 plus 125 plus 250. Diba, amo yun here due to the P, if P is acting at the centroid of the wheel, of the fillet wheel. Okay, so this will be equal to P over, pero ito, 125 plus 125 plus 250. 500. Okay, P over 500. And you also have your V torque, X, ngahan V due to the torque, Y. And this is equal to P times the eccentricity. What's the eccentricity again? 250 minus 31.25. Ulit ko na lang ha. 250 minus 31.25, that's your eccentricity, multiplied by its radius, or the distance. Since VTX, ano yung radius is 250 over 2. This is 250 over 2 all over. Same lang ako ang J, di ba? Nakastore ha iha akong calculator. Okay? Ang VTY naman, same. 25. And mag-iba lang didaan iya distance. Kaya iya distance didi for VTY is 93.75. Okay? 93.75 all over yung A. So, gin-express niya everything in terms of T. So, this will be equal to 250 minus 31.25 times 250 over 2 divided by, to 6.022 times 10 raised to 6. So this is 0.00454 P. Diba? Dito naman, this is still the same. Yung ko na lang. So, kakaiba lang, instead nga 250 over 2, this is 93.75. The result is this one. This is in terms of P. Diba? Tapos masarin kita. Rx, diba ano to? Not Rx. Rn is equal to square root of pero ito niya. BP and BTX, BTY pala, BTY, they should be added together, di ba? Over 500 plus 0.00341 P plus ang kanan X naman, that is 0.00454 P squared. Nayakan daw, peran FB? 150. This is 150 megapascal multiplied by 0.707. The width is 9.5 multiplied by 1 mm. Per meter length kita. 1 mm laanay. Okay, so everything here, kasi this is in per mm, di ba? Per mm. So this is equal to, yan, the square root of, again, this is P over 500 plus 0.00341 P plus 0.00454 P squared. You can solve for the value of your P. This is equal to 150 times 0.7. This in Newton. Is this the answer you got also? Kita daw niyo kung na siya niyo nakuha nga kwan using your calculator.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is 142.650 kilonewton per mm. Siya ba? Oh, diri kay an pina iton. Diri na per mm. Kay an totality of P na inihiya. Kasi gin times naton di ba ang length, ang total length di ang total length han tawag inihan fillet wheel gin times lang naton hin 1 mm kasi ang Rn naton nga makukuha din is in per mm. Gin equate naton ang Rn tapos anyan hi take note nga ini nga mga values are per mm inihiya per 1 millimeter of fillet. Tapos equate naton hiyan per millimeter length of Rn. Okay? Sa amin hiya. This is the result, 146.650 kilonewton. Okay. And ako na ang kanina. You could also use the ratio and proportion. And akong approach is gin-express kwan if V and 150 megapascal. Ano ba iya equivalent nga capacity in terms of force? Okay? An RN na gin solve. 150 times 0.707 times 9.5 times per meter per mm length gihap. May capacity niya. Diba? Tapos ratio and proportion na lang. The value of your R max is equal to 1058.93. If your P is equal to 150 kilonewton. Now, what is the value? What is the value of your force P in kilonewton if your R max is equal to the Rn, which is 1007.48 Newton per mm? Sige daw. This is equal to 142.712. Diba? So, pwede gap ratio and proportionate yung gamitin.